everyone, my name is Matt. Welcome back to our home renovation remodel thingy bobber, whatever we're calling it. It has been quite a while since there's been any progress in here, but this episode is going to be dedicated to taking care of all of the prep work that used to happen before I can get the hardwood flooring installed in here. So it has been a little while since anything has happened in here. It has been a full 8 months of this space remaining exactly like this. So last July, we finished up the taping and mudding of all of the drywall in here. And then in August, I did the prep work on the flooring. In November, I had the flooring dried. And then in February, I ran out of the flooring and got it all ready to go. So the prep work that I'm working on is paint. So painting the walls and the ceilings and getting the subfloor kind of massaged a little bit so it's ready for this to go down. I have some kind of goofy seams and things here and there that need to be tweaked, and I figured while I have the floor and nothing else in this room, getting paint on the ceilings would be a smart idea. So behind me are our paint samples, which has been challenging. And I believe this is the color we went with, but this is the color that I bought. So we'll see. That was also kind of the problem, is that a lot of these are kind of similar. They're similar enough, and it made it kind of difficult, but I did some bigger swatches. So up here above the breakfast bench, we got a bigger swatch, and then over here I did some bigger swatches as well. And there's another one over here. But that helped to give us a really good general feel for a bigger area. One of the other challenges with the paint color is the fact that most of the finish work in here is all trim, and this is the wall color, and there isn't a whole lot of wall that'll be painted. So we'll have this one here, and this one over here, and that's really it for walls. The biggest determining thing right now is that the ceiling is going to be at 50% of the wall color, so I need the wall color at least picked so I can get the ceiling painted. And something else that I thought helped is this little mock-up that I did over here. So we have the white oak flooring, that is the cabinets, and then up here I have something that's kind of similar to the stone. This is our stone sample that we have. So that is what the countertop's going to be. This kind of gives us a good idea of roughly the color makeup of that countertop. Here is the backsplash, and that is painted onto the walls. But this worked out to be a really nice mock-up. It's like the right height, the right distance from the wall and everything, and it gives you a really larger palette of the different materials all kind of stacked together. And this right here is the wall we're looking at, and that is the cabinet that is drawn on the piece of drywall. Right there. So that is that cabinet, which will be exactly right there. So from the last episode with the drywall finishing in here, we had primed the ceiling and fixed any kind of weirdness that we missed before that the paint brought out. I sanded that back. I did that again because I found more things in the 8 months that I was looking at the ceiling. I patched those. I pulled the can lights back out that the electricians had set in, so we had lights in here. And I'm going to give this whole ceiling another sanding real quick, look for any more little defects, and then it'll be time to paint. Finally. Yeah, I think I'm good on the ceilings and walls now. Everything is sanded, and I scraped off any little bits of crap. Found all those, got rid of them, and I'm fairly happy with where things are at. I swear, every time you look at this stuff, you can find something new, and I think this is going to be it. So we have 625 square feet of ceiling to paint, and I think like 160 square feet of wall. So I'm going to start rolling. And this place is gonna be one step closer. Another step closer. All right, I'm done. I got 3 coats on the ceilings and 2 coats on the walls. That seems to be doing pretty well. With the ceilings, I was just gonna do 1 coat, and then I figured what will probably happen is when I do the caulk joint for the crown molding onto the ceiling, I may have to touch up the ceiling anyway. So I'm like, well, I gotta roll the whole thing. I may have to roll the whole thing later again. But I figured, I have everything out. All the lights are down. It's like the space is open. I'll just go ahead and go crazy and get the ceiling perfect, and in the hopes that I won't have to touch it back up. But if I do, I do. But at least it's looking pretty good. So I'll let this dry overnight. I can pop the lights back in, and then tomorrow I will start on the floor prep, getting this all ready for the hardwood install. So I'll see you in the morning. The paint's looking kind of okay. It got a few like uneven looking spots, so I might have to paint it again. And if I have to paint it again in the future, it's not a big deal. The biggest thing now is just to get some color up there and get things kind of started in the right direction. And for us, at least, it helps to more visualize the space. So we have, as the space gets more finished and elements come in here, we actually have the colors on the walls and the ceilings to compare against, the cabinets that will come in here and be white, and the floor, which would be more of a warm tone. So at least we're going in the right direction of being able to see what the heck the space is going to be, because that is the hardest thing for us, is being able to actually visualize things. I have a fairly easy time visualizing like the completed elements. So like I know what the cabinets are going to look like, but I have a hard time visualizing the different like colors and tones and how it all kind of goes together. And then Lindsay has it even worse than me, and she can't see like anything. So the easier I can make it for us to be able to see this as it progresses, the better. So today I am going to be doing all of the subfloor prep, or hopefully getting it all done. It shouldn't be too big of a deal. So I have to clean the floor and get all the globs of crap off of here. So we got drywall mud. We have the leftover thin set from when this was a slate floor that has to come off. And that has to go away. I need to go through and make sure there are no screw heads sticking up, because the guy running the screw gun was kind of a amateur and didn't do a very consistent job of sticking the screw heads flush to the surface. So that's sort of like surface level prep. And then I also have to go through and make sure all my seams are nice and even, and make any feathering that has to happen. So we'll get into this a little bit later, but of course we have, this used to be an exterior wall, so you can see our new sheathing here. It might not line up completely perfectly, so like that's a high spot, so I got to feather that out. That's not a huge deal. And then I need to just make sure that everything is actually kind of more seamless coming through and even, because if I was laying down something thinner, it would kind of conform to whatever's going on. But if there is a big step or jump, I'm laying 7/8 hardwood down, so it doesn't deflect as much and conform to the subfloor. So the flatter or more even I can get the subfloor, the better the install is going to go. So I'm going to start just going around with the scraper, scraping up as much gunk as I can, just generally cleaning the space, and we'll go from there. Okay, so now I can start working the belt sander over the whole surface, especially over here where I still have some goop that's in the way. There's also, in a few spots I already saw, these are the screws that used to hold the cement board down here. So the belt sander is going to help me find these as well and get rid of them. So plenty of prep work, especially here on the OSB, where there used to be a floor on top of here. On top of our new subfloor, I just wanted to hit it with a belt sander to look for any weird high spots or anything. And then I do have some additional discrepancies, which I'll get into after this, at the larger seams. Okay, there's the floor all cleaned up and sanded. I think I got all the high screws sunk back down and all tidied up. All my globs of crap are cleaned up and gone, and I can work on some of the bigger things. I had a few smaller ones I could do pretty easily with a belt sander, but I am going to have a little bit of feathering to do at this seam here, which is where the exterior wall used to be. The back door used to be right here. What I think happened with this one, so we're a little bit high on the addition side versus the rim here on the old house. And I believe what happens when we set the LVL for the ledger that these joists are attached to, we set that ledger in line with the rim joist, but then when we put the hangers on, the hangers lap over the top of that rim. So I have the thickness of the hanger pushing the subfloor up a little bit over here. So it's not a whole lot, but there is a little bit of a hump thing going on here. That should be a fairly easy thing to take out. The more challenging one is going to be over here. So this is the front wall, or the old front wall was right here. The front door was right here. So looking at the way this floor laid out, if you recall back to our adventure over here where we re-leveled the floor and took this huge dip out, I think we had something similar going on over here. This rim joist, the joists are running this way. This rim joist here is high, like significantly high. If I come down here with my straight edge, you can see we have a pretty significant hump here in the floor. So the front addition was built very similar to the back one. We have a ledger board here, which is aligned to the existing rim joist, which of course now we know is too high. So the floor kind of does one of these kind of things. So over here, I got to take this hump out. It wouldn't be too big of a deal to come in with the power planer and just feather this hump out of here. That's going to be the easy part. The more annoying part is going to be that the OSB, they use nails to secure it down, and we use screws. So if on our side, I can come back and just pull all the screws out, and there's no problem. On this side, I have to go through and pull all of the nails along this whole 16-foot span before I can go in here with the power planer and start feathering things out. So that's what I'm going to be doing, is pulling some nails for a bit and then planing some OSB. That was nowhere near as bad as I was expecting. All the other pieces of subfloor we pulled out last year, it was much more work to pull the nails. I don't know, whatever. I'm gonna get the planer going and start taking this hump out. Okay, just this one little section here so you get a feel for how much has to come off, and a lot. The answer is a lot, but this is significantly better. I have a little bit under 1/8 of an inch gap now, so I think by the time I hit this with the belt sander to smooth it out, that should be a lot closer. So I think this is gonna be a lot of this, just kind of working back and forth with the straight edge and the planer, because I think this is probably going to vary throughout the entire width of the room. So I don't know. It seems like a lot, but it'll be a lot better when it's done, I guess. At least it's relatively easy, just time consuming. Halfway done. Whew. Jeez. Okay, I think the rough work is done. So I'm gonna clean this up a little bit, and then I'll come back with the belt sander. Just kind of blend all of the plane tracks out a little bit, and just kind of further refine things from there. I think I got it really, really close right now. I have a little bit of dips here and there, but I think it's pretty consistent with the rest of the floor. It's a little more than a 1/16. It's probably like 2 millimeters, something in there. Okay, that's to the point of adequacy. It's nicely feathered out, and one of the areas I was really concerned about was right here, as we're coming into door openings. So it's going to be like a third plane that all has to kind of fit together. So we have the original house. Actually, we have the original house, which on the other side of that wall. We have the first addition here in our addition. All three of those meet right smack in the middle of that opening. So getting this all, at least these two even, so that they can be even with that one when I go through into that room. That should make that process a little bit easier. So anyway, this is all good to go. I'm going to start working on this side over here. This is nowhere near as bad as the other side. I just have a few little problem areas. The middle is pretty good, like through here is pretty good. We start kind of picking up as we get over there. And as we get to the pantry wall, we have a pretty good hump. You can see it's not that big. It's just like a couple inches over here. I used to get that skimmed down a little bit. Well, you can see how much of a gap I have here on either side. So I'm going to just do the same thing over here because it should be a lot faster. I already pulled out all the screws. So I'm going to get the planer and do the rough work and then feather it out with the sander, and this seam will be good as well. Okay, I think that's finally going to do it for evening out the subfloor. I got to give this place a really good cleaning. And then I think we're getting close to being done with prep. Finally. The space is looking really nice now, and the last thing on the list before I do the sealant is to actually bring these wires here for the island up through the floor somewhere where the island will be. We left them hiding under here so we didn't have any additional holes cut in the floor, and to keep the wires kind of tucked away and out of the way. It would have been a lot more annoying to have these things poking through the floor as we were working, so this will be the last thing I do because these are going to kind of probably get in the way a little bit as I'm working. I vacuumed the floor again. I made sure I replaced all of the screws, and I think I am ready to seal the floor. This is a sealer I'll be using. It is a moisture barrier and a primer for the adhesive we'll use during the actual installation. Nice thing about this is, with this being a sealer directly onto the subfloor, I don't need to use an underlayment, which is nice because that doesn't cover up any of my my layout or my floor joist spacing and everything. And that's a little more important in this case because I have those radiant floor transfer plate things underneath the subfloor. And I don't want to be hitting one of those with that water line in it with a flooring nail. Now, I am going to be using cleats that are, in theory, too short to hit one of those, but I'd rather not chance it at all and completely avoid sinking a nail directly over a water line. This will also allow me to draw the whole layout of the kitchen on the floor so that as I'm composing my floor, I can know exactly what's going to be shown, what's going to be hidden, and what the actual pathways on the floor are going to be, just to make the composition of my artistic floor just that much easier. So this stuff just rolls on, and it says it should take about 16 hours to cure. So tomorrow sometime I'll be able to get on here, do my little bit of layout, and then start actually, laying out some floorboards and kind of getting rolling on the flooring install. I bought 2 of these jugs, and the coverage says it should be between 300 and 400 square feet. We have a little over 600 square feet, so I will probably end up using the entirety of both these jugs. The sealer has dried overnight. It's nice and walkable now. And it's very weird that this feels like such a finished space with just sealer on the floor. It's very weird. I didn't really use much of the second jug, so I've got almost the entire thing left. But over here, and I guess over here, I started drawing out the layout for all the things that are going to be covering up the floor. So we have the outside cabinets here that go all the way around here. We got the island, we got pancake, and then we have the dishes cabinet here, and then the cabinetry in the pantry. So I'm all ready to go for installing the floor. Like anything past these lines don't need to be pretty looking. I can use some of my lower grade boards there to go underneath all the stuff that'll be covering it. So a few days of work, and the space is like drastically feeling like a lot more finished. Just some paint and some sealer. Look at that sheen off that floor. Isn't that beautiful? It's crazy. So next time we'll get into the flooring install. So that's something I've been waiting for a long time. It's just like a giant wood composition, so I get to have fun doing my layout and incorporating the grain patterns in the way that I want, because I'm the one installing the floor. So that is going to do it for this one. Thank you as always for watching. I greatly appreciate it. If you have any questions or comments on the home renovation, remodel, whatever we're calling a thing, or anything back in the shop or whatever, please feel free to leave me a comment. As always, I'd be happy to answer any questions you might have. And until next time, happy woodworking.